Okay guys, chapter 2 of Mobile Suit Gundam 8 did drop a couple days ago, but we didn't have the English version, and I like covering the English version because the English version is the one that I understand. So, as you guys can see here, right off the bat, we're getting a look at a new mobile suit and some of the characters that we're going to be encountering in this manga in this chapter 2. So let's dive right in. Oh, by the way, my name is Zero, and if you guys don't wanna hear my voice, just press mute, put on some music, whatever, but we're going through the whole thing, so let's go. So you guys can start seeing here, we're looking at the planet, right? And we see that there's pretty much a colony, right? You're like, oh man, that's a colony, right? Well, it's not. This is the deep space surveillance ship Atlantis. So yeah, this is the Atlantis. Remember in the first chapter where they were talking about going to Atlantis? This is it. So as you guys can see here, it looks like there's something going on because, hey, 2 shooting stars? Wait, I thought there were supposed to be 5 of them. Nah. As you guys can see, it's a battle going on. And of course, we got the new mobile suits here, just going at it. You can see the target mechanism here. I gotta say, this panel is beautifully drawn. Did a good job here. And as you guys can see there, oh, we have a familiar face here. Yeah, I like this beam rifle. Now, I don't like that the joints are so exposed here and they look skeletonish, but remember, these are not the main suit. This is not the Gundam, so I'm okay with it. So as you guys can see here, they even have freaking beam sabers and stuff. Now, the cool thing here, what gives it away that this isn't actually a real battle, it's actually a training battle, is here. Because you see this and you're like, blood? Oil? No. It's a callback to one of my favorite Gundam series out there. And we'll get to it really soon. So as you guys can see here, they're shooting each other, right? Oh, what do you think they're shooting themselves with? Oh, paintballs. Yeah. So that means, you know, they directly took this from freaking Gundam 0083 from that first episode, which is pretty much what happens. As you guys can see here, we got a new friend who's fighting Subaru. That's what's going on. As you guys can see there, oh, Subaru loses. Yeah, Subaru loses. So DN is the winner here. And of course he's celebrating. He got Subaru right there on the forehead, and Subaru is like, meh. He's not even pissed. So this is, if I remember correctly, this is supposed to be Earth. It's not inside the Atlantis, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I think it's supposed to be Earth because if you guys remember in the first panels from the first chapter, you guys saw that the cities were destroyed and there were cities similar to this one that were destroyed, and they were on Earth. They were not in the Atlantis. So here you can see the mobile suits. Yeah, the mobile suit hangers. You can see a bunch of stats there. I'm pretty sure there has to be an Easter egg or 2 inside one of these pictures. But of course, Dian is, you know, just bragging. But Federica actually beat him. And Quincy, of course, this Quincy, he's right at the top. You know, he's the cream of the crop, brother. So as you guys can see there, Marianella is actually, it's actually, you know, she looks kind of pissed. Because she managed to make the cut, but look who failed. Subaru failed. Like, something's going on here. Like, dude, Like, we saw the badass Subaru there in the first episode, and now we're seeing a Subaru that is not really cutting it, right? So basically, they're getting ready for these space explorations, basically what she's saying here. And they're picking candidates, right? And let me tell you, there's throwbacks to Gundam Seed, and there's throwbacks to the OG Gundam series. Now, we already got one for 0083. So, stay tuned. There's some very interesting stuff coming up. So, you guys can see here, we go back to where we left off on that last chapter. Is Subaru taking a nap? And, of course, being woken up. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, Zero, they don't know each other yet here? Yeah. He knows who she is, and she knows who he is, but they haven't never spoken before. Pretty much, you can see it right here. So that is interesting. And she basically, you know, she's a celebrity, and she does this thing called the Moon Bow Prima. I'm guessing it's kind of like a ballet dance, you know, something like that. And everybody becomes entranced watching you. So she knows how to dance. She can't sing, but from what we see, she dances. So basically, you know, she tells him his score: 25, 25, 20, 20, 20, 20, 25, Mr. 25, pretty much. And she basically, you know, tells him, hey, you're not doing anything, you know, you just keep scoring low for some reason. And Subaru's like, whatever, I don't fucking care about this, you know. And she's like, oh, I've been trying to keep myself down, I always get 24 or 26. And he's like, yeah, you know, he can easily, you know, he says that he doesn't know if he can be Quincy, but yeah, he should be top 2, pretty much. So, you know, she gets pissed off, and he tells her basically to fuck off, you know. Because this project, you have to enlist yourself into this project, and then if you're good enough, then you get selected to be there. But Subaru is like, eh. So this is a big hint. I do want to see flocks of Mother Swan soaring through space. If you guys remember, this actually ties to 2 things, but I'm gonna tell you the first one right now. It ties to Lala. If you remember Lala in the original Gundam series, when she dies, she basically turns into this swan that flies through space. It's all mental stuff. You know, it's not really something physical that you see. It's something that Amuro and Char see. So, man, who gives a fuck, right? So, he basically talks about that. So you're thinking, oh, new types, right? And she tells him, hey, you're afraid to fight. And he's like, yeah, I'm absolutely terrified. And she's like, oh, you're such a coward. And he goes like, yeah, I'm such a coward. Does Subaru have to choke a bitch? He does choke a bitch. Oh man, I could see the PC crowd going right now. The wokies going, oh my god, cry your heart out and fuck off. So yeah, basically he tells her that that's the way the eyes, the look that they gave him is the same way his mother looked at him 8 years ago. Now, there's the whole thing through the series, 25 and 8. There's a bunch of 8 and 25 references here, there, here and there, here and there, all the whole fucking time. So get used to it. You know, she abandoned him, and he basically, you know, he doesn't really choke her, but, you know, let's go of her. And instead of her being pissed off, his hands are so warm. Oh. You guys know where this is going. You guys know where this is going. Yeah. And so she invites him to the freaking concert hall. And he's like, oh, fuck. You know, she's like, come see me in the room. I'll show you what you need to do. Okay. Okay. So basically, we're back at the city. Now that I see it, now that I see this part obviously here, I think this is in the Atlantis. Yeah, this has to be in the Atlantis. As you guys can see, the mobile suits are being prepped. So consider these guys are like trainer GMs pretty much. And there's a mobile suit that is fully covered here. I wonder what mobile suit is that. So basically, the Dean gets, you know, a little bit by the Assemblyman. Assemblyman? Yeah, it's Gendo Ikari. Yeah, if you guys want Evangelion vibes, you're getting them here. You're getting them here. So basically, you know, they're talking about exploring the deepest parts of the solar system. You know, they talk about this guy called Joseph that isn't there, that, you know, he's pursuing a your paramour. I don't know what that's in reference to. I guess maybe that guy is doing something with new types or something, or who knows, maybe the mobile, this is what I've been thinking, that maybe the mobile suit that's under here is not really the Gundam, but I'm 95% sure it's the Gundam, but there's part of me that thinks that this Joseph guy that got mentioned, I think this Joseph guy has something else to do. I think he has a bigger role, so we'll see what happens. So basically, you know, just talking about, hey, let's go there, you know, because exploring, he's looking at it, whatever's under here very fondly. So, you know, they're talking about the development, the corporations, and the group of trainees, you know, the people that they're picking up, and they just have, you know, just 3 months. See, after 3 months training, Quincy's on the top, Federica's number 2, Dean is number 3. Those are the top performers. And this is very interesting because pretty much what this tells you is that in this universe, they have found a way to make new types, and basically they're generation 8, and as you guys can see, they surpass 7, which makes them the prior generation. Leaps and bounds, turns in physical prowess while possessing extraordinary advanced learning capabilities. So yeah, basically the 8th generation is the one that is gonna take humans out of the solar system. As you guys can see here, this the Atlantis is what it's gonna look like when it's flying around, right? And what they really want to do is capture Mother Swan. You know, they actually capture one, but I'm guessing they want to capture another one. So what they're looking at, get ready, Gundam Sea fans, there you go, boom. This is what they call Mother Swan. Yes, this is the whales from Gundam Seed. This is what they're actually talking about. Not Lala, but this. So that is actually very interesting that they decided to go with this whale. Now, the whale doesn't have anything that looks like the aliens that we saw in the first chapter. It just doesn't look like it. Those things were very, very different. So this let me, you know, because I was thinking, hey, maybe the aliens are coming after this, but doesn't make sense because the Atlantis is up in space and the aliens actually come to Earth instead of the Atlantis, meaning that they're not after this thing. Okay, so this thing might be the motivation to go to outer space, and maybe that's how the aliens see it and they go after Earth. But I don't think this is the aliens, honestly. I don't think so. I think this is just another alien. Do you believe we discovered a specimen, assemblyman? Yeah. So basically, yeah, they discover it, and pretty much, you know, they're talking about the solar system alliance and nearly 2 decades and all that stuff. And we get a number here that there's only 100,000 volunteer citizens. So yeah, basically they're almost ready to head out to space before shit hits the fan, obviously. So we do hear about these individuals losing their job. As of late, a community coined the cell the Seventh Oath has emerged. So basically, this is kind of like a double-sided blade, because they're creating humans that are genetically advanced and more powerful and stronger, but you're also alienating the generation before it because they're not as useful, which is kind of stupid if you think about it, because if you were to do that and you already have a big population of those guys, then you're pretty much fucking yourself in the ass, you know, in the pursuit of equality and tranquility. Yeah, that's gonna bite you in the ass, because something tells me that there's something a little bit more nefarious going on here, and these guys are probably just destroying the Sevens and keeping the Sevens that actually have some skills compared to the 8 alive, and that might be the reason why Earth gets fucked by the aliens so hard in the first chapter. So pretty much, you know, the champions and the oath and bullshit. So there is the mother swan there inside. Now it's not said if it's alive or dead. I think it's alive, but we'll see. So we get back and we're ready to see the show, the Moon Bow Prima. And you can see that there's quite a lot of people. You can see the Subaru decide to put on a nice outfit. And Quincy's there, Federica's there, and Diane is there, Jan or whatever the fuck his name is. And we get to see a new character. This is Marisa, Quincy's sister. And by judging what's gonna happen here, I'm thinking that Quincy, I think we know what happens to Quincy. So basically Subaru's there, you know, he's looking all around, looking at people and stuff, and Quincy's like, oh no, he's not wrong, you know, there's something else entirely. And they pick up on these two guys. So Quincy goes over there and pretty much just tells him, hey, I'll handle the other one. And Subaru is kind of shocked, but he looks at him and profoundly, and they're like, oh yeah. So yeah, it looks like this Moon Prima was gonna be turned into a UK incident. Yeah, if you don't know what the UK incident is, happens a lot, you know, a bunch of knife attacks. Yeah, it happens a lot there. But these guys don't have any pew-pews, which you should have. I mean, you're going to, well, going to space, I'm guessing, but you should have them. I mean, even the cosmonauts have pew-pews. So they take care of the guys, you know, they apprehend them. Nothing too crazy happens. You don't see them slashing and these guys just doing flips and stuff. They just, you know, take them down pretty easy, no problem. And he's like, you're an ain't, aren't you? Yeah. So they capture them it's really not a big deal right now, but trust me, we're gonna get into that more. So the police chiefs, you know, thank you, and he tells him, hey, no, you have to come in for questioning. He's like, yeah. So he comes out very late, as you guys can see here, and he's like, oh man, I missed the show. And yeah, he gets to the show and everything's empty except for one thing. She was waiting for him. And basically, you know, she planned this. She planned for him to go see the show, see him dancing, see her dancing on stage, and reflect that, you know, how he might utilize his talents and all that stuff. And of course, Subaru is just checking her out, head to toe, pretty much. You know, and you know, her plan got derailed because of what happened. But she's like, I'll let slide and you can watch me dance. So this right here, this whole part reminds me of Macross Plus when Sharon Apple is doing her concert and people are just, you know, going crazy watching her stuff. This is what it reminds me of, you know. The difference being that Subaru, of course, Subaru is entranced by her dance, and in Macross Plus, don't tell me I forgot his fucking name. Oh my god, dude. You got Isamu's YF19 right next to you and you're fucking forgetting Isamu's name. Yeah. You know, Isamu isn't like not impressed, but here Subaru is impressed by it. You know, by dancing. And she's basically tells him, hey, thank you to you, you know, capturing those guys. Everybody got to see my dance. Everybody got to enjoy it. Everybody had a wonderful time except for you. And she basically gives him, you know, a show, a personal show, you know, and pretty much tells him, hey, the reason I want you to be a great pilot, you know, is for you to protect everything that's here. And if you know from chapter 1, we already know that's what actually happens. You know, he's pretty much the last line of defense, the last Gundam and the last Subaru on Earth. You guys have to understand that this guy shouldn't be called a Gundam. He should be called the Subaru. Okay, so Subaru, if you're listening to me, you're watching this video, make a WRX Impreza Subaru version. Okay, Gundam 8 Subaru version. I will buy that. I will buy that. If you give me a good discount, give me a 50% discount, I'll buy it. So, you know, he gets really freaking happy because, dude, she just danced for you by herself, you know. And, you know, she's like, oh, you're always so stubborn and stuff. And basically she tells him, hey, next mock battle, you have to give it your all. He's like, motivation, I gotta tell you right now, as a guy, when a girl that you like tells you, hey, do something, yeah, that's motivation. It's like, dude, this like Mrs. Stig, like, you don't know the times that I've been like, man, this YouTube thing is not working. She's like, you better not give up. I go like, you know what? She's right. She's 100% right. So yeah. So let's keep going because now we have in the mock battle. Yes, and it's Quincy versus Subaru. Ooh. So they're going at it. Everybody's watching and everybody's pretty impressed, like, oh my god, Subaru is keeping up with this guy. Number 25 is just kicking ass now. You know, and Quincy's like, you finally got motivated. Did Marietta give you a kick in the pants? And he's like, nah, I just wanted to impress you, you know. Get you back. Again, they're using the paintball guns, and as you guys can see here, they both land hits on each other. A lot of hits. Now, least from here, I'm guessing Quincy is the one on the left and Subaru's the one on the right here. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what's going on here, because they normally will have like little panels here with the faces, but no, they don't have that here. But after getting headshots, which you think would be like, hey, that's the end, right? No, they actually keep going, and they fight with beam sabers. Now, it's not explained if these beam sabers are, you know, not heated properly and they won't damage anything. I'm guessing it should be like that. But man, you can see all the hits that they got each other with. Boom, 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 boom. And basically, you know, it ends like on a stalemate pretty much. And remember when I said, hey, I think we know what Quincy's fate is? Remember the alien that he takes out first in the first chapter that looks like a freaking Gundam? I think that's Quincy. I think that's Quincy. I think it is. I think that was Quincy, and he got killed by the aliens, and the aliens took over the Gundams and the Gundam, and he had to kill him. And I think that's why, you know, he was so upset about having to do that. I think that's what's going on. So everybody's still impressed, and you can see how, hey, Naomi got the qualification and Millennia got disqualified. Yeah, that's the whole thing. And you can see the suits there, and she's congratulating Naomi, you know, for finding an Atlantis pilot and all that. And he's like, oh, but I knocked you out, you know. And you can see that, yeah, these two are actually flirting with each other, and she's like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere, because she's gonna be the flight controller, which means she'll be guiding him. Yes, she will be his navigator, pretty much. And that's actually pretty cool. And he's like, oh shit, quality time. And I'm not even gonna say but yeah, she looks really darn happy. And you can see, right. Okay guys, sorry for the cut there. But as you guys can see here, we got the Atlantis. There's a debris field, and there's mobile suits here. What do you think is gonna happen? Yeah, remember the 7-0? There you go. Yeah, they're planning on attacking it. That's what it looks like. So it looks like next chapter we're gonna see some human-to-human combat here, real one. And here we have the new mobile suit. This is called the Marsim. As you guys can see here, model number EEA300, 17.8 meters, 36.5 tons. It doesn't look like it should be 36 tons, but as you guys can see here, you feel free to pause and check it out. You know, has the shield. That is supposed to be their beam rifle for it, which is pretty interesting. You know, I honestly like how it looks like upside down a lot better with that it looks like here. And you can see that the new pilot seat here actually is kind of like a robot, so that's cool. And that's pretty much it. I gotta say, it's very interesting here. I like the way that they're telling the story with, you know, going back, but still keeping some action in it, because that's the cool thing. This fight scene, you know, the fight scenes were pretty darn nice, especially the last one here. Obviously not as intense as that first chapter, which that first chapter is just awesome. You know what they did. I like that they incorporated the whales. That is nice. And I like the references that they're giving to the original Gundam and to Gundam 083, you know, and it's still really darn good. So we'll see what happens. I just hope, look, I just hope that the aliens do turn out to be actual alien species that came to Earth just to attack. I don't want to see that whole thing of, man, yesterday I saw a movie that was so freaking bad. The New World of Worlds with Ice Cube. Like literally that movie was horrible. And in that movie, they basically made it, oh, it's because the humans took one of the aliens and they created this whole thing. And that's why the aliens are coming here. Yeah, I don't want to see that here. Honestly, I want it to be like, hey, the aliens just came and they're just been conquering planets and stuff. I want that. I want that instead, you know, because that will make it better. Because if you go here, you know, and you go pretty much, if they go like, oh, these two guys are actually the bad guys. Wouldn't make any sense, honestly. Wouldn't make sense that, you know, they knew all along and blah 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 blah. Wouldn't make sense, because if they knew all along, why did Earth get their ass kicked, right? Yeah. But it's nice seeing that at least in the Atlantis, at least for this 100,000 volunteers, they still have combat training and all that stuff. So yeah, humanity didn't go fully woke and got rid of all their weapons, which would have been pretty dumb. So I'm guessing when the aliens invade, that is gonna be pretty darn crazy, you know, which is gonna be interesting. And this little subplot here with the 7-0, I kind of get it, but also like I'm not really that interested in it. You know, we want the aliens, Bandai. So hopefully that is short. You know, now this manga itself is not short, because this is what, 82 pages, pretty much, which is a lot more than they gave us in the first one. But still, it's nice. It's nice, and I like the romance that they have going here. You know, it feels real, it feels organic, it doesn't feel like, oh, let's push it up to the limit, you know. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I'm actually pretty happy with this manga. I am. Is it as good as the first one? Obviously no, because the first one, well, first one's so intense. But still, I say the first one is a 10 out of 10. I give this one a 9. I give this one a 9, you know, or 8.5, you know. It might flip-flop a little bit, but hey, it's good enough to keep me interested. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe for more, and next month we'll be checking out chapter 3, and I'll see you guys next time.